Good morning, Hope. Psalm 171. And the title this morning is Look Up. It's really challenging for some of us now after what happened to Rayshard Brooks. It just seems like it keeps happening. But the message, the meditation is look up. Psalm 171. I will lift up mine eyes to the hills. From whence cometh my help? My help comes from the Lord who made heaven and earth. I want to share 3 miracle stories with you, not from the Bible, but from my life. I have many, as many of you do as well, but I want to share 3. Relevant to what's happening in this country as it relates to the need for radical transformation and reimagining public safety. We need some miracles. So when I was about 7 years old, we came to Charlotte actually to visit family here. And it was my aunt and uncle. I had had kids the same age as my sister and me. So my cousin Cliff and my sister at this time was in a crib. And I wanted to ride. I watched Cliff ride down this steep hill in Charlotte, like the steep hill on his bicycle. And I was like, I got to do that. That looks like so much fun. So I grab a bicycle. My mom and my aunt are on a sidewalk strolling our sisters down the hill. And I'm at the top of the hill. And I hop on the bicycle. And before I get off, I've lost control of the bicycle. The pedals are rolling rapidly, and I can't get it under control to figure out how to slow it down. And I'm screaming, and my mom doesn't appear to be paying attention. And I'm screaming, and they look up, but they keep walking. And I get a little more than halfway down the hill, and now I'm petrified because I can see there's a curve and a guardrail. And I have a forest behind the guardrail with what appeared to be a cliff. And I have 2 options: to maneuver my bike and hope I can skid and the asphalt's gonna tear my flesh off of my body, or keep going as I was, try to hit the brakes if I could get control of the pedals, but I'd end up over the guardrail and into God knows what. I thought I was going to die. I was certain this was going to be my end. And so I'm screaming and I'm looking down, trying to figure out how to control these pedals. And something said, look up. And I looked up, and my mom was just about to cross the street in front of me to the other side with my sister in the stroller. And I screamed out, Mom, I can't stop. I can't stop this. It's out of control. The cycles are out of control. And she pushed my sister out of the way. She turned and she faced me like she's like, my child. I'm saving my child. She grabbed the handlebars and stopped me, and I pretty much almost fell into her arms, falling off my seat and forward toward her. Just in the nick of time. And with the things that are going on in our country, it feels like the options are limited. You know, that if we go one way, that it's cycling out of control. That if we turn this way, we're gonna skid, and the flesh is gonna come off of us, and that solution is not gonna work. And if we do nothing, we're gonna hit a guardrail and fall over the cliff. But God has a way, if we look up, of putting someone like a mother. God is like a mother who gets in our pathway just in the nick of time to stop things from pedaling out of control. Fast forward 13 years later, I have an internship in Connecticut, Hartford, Connecticut. This is where I accepted a call to ministry at 15, but I stopped fighting it that summer in Connecticut. All I took with me to the internship with Hartford Steam Boiler was my Bible and the autobiography of Malcolm X. I think that pretty much summarizes ministry for me. And And the only friend I made that year was a man, Anglo man by the name of Peter Stone. Anyone from Connecticut knows he had his own candy truck in the mall, a man with cerebral palsy. And we got to know each other at the bus stop. And one day he having befriended him, he told me that his aide was going to be out of town. He needed a ride to the grocery store. He'd run out of food. And I agreed to meet him at the bus stop after work, go with him, get him out of his wheelchair, into his car, and drive him to the grocery store. Well, I worked overtime and forgot I made that commitment. By the time I remembered, the sun was setting, and I knew that when I got off the bus, I had a dark, 2 almost pitch black blocks to walk back to my house, my apartment, but I was going to keep my word to him. So I got on the bus, and I'm thinking, I might make it back before it's dark, just in the nick of time. Well, Peter, bless his heart, wanted to go up and down every single aisle in that grocery store. So by the time we get back home, put the groceries away, he walks with me alongside of me in his wheelchair to the bus stop. It's 11:30 at night. And he was exhausted, and I told him I'd be fine. The bus was coming soon. So he left me there, and I waited for the bus, expecting it to be there within a few minutes according to schedule. 45 minutes later, no bus. Another 15 minutes, no bus. So it's 12:30, 30 minutes past midnight, and a woman comes walking up the hill. And I said, "Ma'am, have you seen the bus?" She said, and she's huffing and she's puffing. She said, "The bus is not coming. I walked all the way from downtown." So now, I don't have money for a cab. I don't have a cell phone, first of all. So I'd have to have a phone. And so I'm just praying. I'm like, the bus is coming for me. The bus is coming for me. But it still did not solve my dilemma of the 2 blocks that were dark. And I just sat with my faith at that moment. A few minutes later, a man comes up, a trench coat, and I guess he parked his car near the bus stop, and he was about to cross the street, but he saw me and he approached me. He said, "Ma'am, are you okay? You don't look like you belong here." Well, I'm 19. I'm in my work attire with a briefcase, and he says, "Are you okay?" "I'm fine. The bus is coming." And he goes into the apartment building across the street. A few minutes later, now it's closer to 1. He comes out. My father was a professor at Virginia State University. So when he comes out with a Virginia State University t-shirt on, it caught my eye. And he walks over to me and stands by me. He said, "Look, I'm not trying to hit on you. I just don't think you should be standing here alone. Can I stand and wait with you?" And as we start to talk, I discovered that he worked for the man who had just interviewed me, or used to work for the man that had just interviewed me for a different internship. And he described my father. He knew my father and described his truck from campus. And so, long story short, as he, said, "Look, I can take you home. You'll be perfectly safe." But I took a chance. I trusted that the sign, of him. He didn't know my dad worked at Virginia State. I trusted that sign, and so he got me home safely. We walked off to the car, but the bus pulled up. But the solution of this stranger getting me home solved the problem of the 2 blocks, pitch black, that I would have had to walk. Just when I was starting to despair, something said, "Look up." And there he comes across the street with a Virginia State t-shirt on. Lastly, more recently, actually a year ago, I've been praying and praying and praying for a miracle, for the capacity of the foundation to reach what it should be so that we can serve the way we're called to serve. And I just been praying and praying and praying for a miracle. Spirit all the while was telling me to preach. So I started to let my people go preaching tour and was invited to preach at Greater Providence, one of our supportive churches. And after I preached, my brother came up to me and said, "This young lady wants to meet you. She wants to meet you. She wants to work with the foundation. She wants to work with you. And I said, sis, what's your name? She's a college student at Bennett. And she said, Miracle. My brother said, look up. Look, there's this lady here. Look. My point is this. Look up. We have to look up. Miracles are miracles, not necessarily because they defy the natural order or physics or natural laws. It's the timing of something that's often naturally occurring that clues us in that God is paying attention, and that help is very present everywhere around us. So if you're having a hard time with yet another black man, black person, black body being defiled with violence from the people that are supposed to protect him, us, look up. And I'll leave you with this song that captures the scripture. Lord, I will lift my eyes. I will look up to the hills, from whence cometh my help. You know this. I lift my hands in total praise. I will lift up my eyes to the hills, from whence cometh my help. Whence cometh my help? My help comes from the Lord who made heaven and earth. Just in the nick of time, when things seem like they're pedaling out of control, when you're in the dark night and the bus hasn't arrived, the method to get where you need to go hasn't arrived, miracle will show up. Good morning, Hope.